Why is the idle control struggling? I think it might be time to find out. So yes, welcome to another week on the HubNut fleet, investigating what's going on with the idle on Desmond, our trusty Perodua Kenari now. Has covered almost 8,000 miles in our ownership since July last year. It's the car that's been getting the most hammer of late, so we better look into what's going on here. Later in the week, we're hoping to get tyres fitted to Ellie the 2CV's wheels so she can be re-shod. And we don't really know what else. Come along with us, we've no idea. This is an annoyingly inconsistent issue because at the moment, idling fine. If I put on some electrical load, headlamps, it's very slowly rectifying it and adding more idle. Heated rear window, heater fan, just about holding normal, everything off. So sometimes it's working fine and sometimes it gets stuck, sometimes the idle gets stuck high, sometimes the idle drops to almost nothing. So idle control is clearly a bit suspect, so let's look into that. On an old car with a carburettor, you'd have an idle jet, which the car uses just to keep ticking over. The modern equivalent of that is the idle control valve. I'm pretty sure this is it here. So normally your throttle is controlled by this device here, and there's a blade in there that opens to allow air in. When you shut the throttle off, the blade shuts, and there's a bypass through here that allows a small amount of air through, and this controls the air. Because the ECU then decides, based on how much air is going in, how much fuel to inject directly into the cylinders. One injector for each cylinder, all three of them on this car. So I think what might be an idea is to get the whole throttle body off and see what state it's in. So air box off, this hose off, and it looks like a few bolts, and we can have the whole throttle body off and we'll give the whole thing a good clean. I'm afraid it is just me today. Miss HubNut is busy at home to prepare birthday parties for 18-year-olds, which is absolutely terrifying. So that's that. Get the cobwebs out. Ping this box off, and that should just come off there nicely. It's somehow refusing to. That's fine. Yeah, still somewhat full of cold, but trying to keep going. Absolutely wiped out on Saturday. Sunday we went to collect the hublets, had a nice meal at Good Sheds again in Barry. Amazing place, do go there. And now here we are on Monday again. The weeks keep flying by, but I think these videos are really helping us just keep content coming. Oh, we've got a little ECU or something on the back of here. Probably not an ECU, to be fair. Gosh, that's got a stiff little clip on it. I think maybe I'll take that hose off, move that out of the way. Oh, losing metal clips from the air filter box, don't want to do that. Can I just move that? Yeah, let's move that over there, out the way. Air filter, a little grubby, that's fine. And then we can see the throttle body. So I think I'm going to pull the hoses off. Maybe I'll put my other glove on at some point, might be an idea. I just think a little icky coming out of there. Yeah, we've got a bit of oil condensate actually, which I think is just because we haven't driven very far today. So we haven't fully burnt off any moisture in the oil. This can be a problem with cars that don't do a lot of miles, but Desmond usually does. Just had a quiet time of it lately. That comes off. This little plug up here comes off. That little plug back there comes off. They're all different size, so you can see where they're meant to go. There we go. Then we've got the throttle cable itself to come off, which you do like so. There we go. That's the throttle cable off. And oh yeah, it's looking quite icky in there. I don't believe, I think like our Charade, I don't think there's any form of engine breather per se. I think it's all done through baffles in the cam cover. So there is no PCV effectively, and I think that can leave them a little vague, or a little able to sort of draw in moisture when the oil's not up to temperature. Like I say, not usually a problem on Desmond. He gets a lot of use and does a lot of miles. He doesn't often get used just for that couple of mile bomb to the shop. This is why every 5-minute job on HubNut ends up taking 16 hours, but still got my socket back in the end. That one's cracked off. That one's cracked off, I think. No, not yet. There we go. And there's the one. Yeah, there is one down there as well. Oh, I might have been wrong. There's another one on the back. Maybe that's the idle control. Might have to do some part number investigations. So, just using this clip just to remind me where hoses go. But yeah, look, the throttle body is quite icky. So, I think we're definitely doing right by getting this off and giving it a good clean out. So, get those hoses off and then hopefully we can lift the whole assembly away. We are working this out. So, that's the throttle position sensor, because that is right on the throttle blade. This one is actually the manifold pressure sensor. Notice we've got a Daihatsu logo on it from Japan. This is a Malaysian built Japanese car, and this is our idle control valve. So I think I'm going to pull this out and we'll have a look at the passageways. And I think that is the start of the passage for the bypass air, which then presumably comes out down here somewhere. So it's going to be a fun voyage of discovery for all of us. Let's give it a general clean up before we get too involved. Not got much cleaner left by the look of it. But yeah, you don't want your intake to be as mucky as this one is, really. Oh, this stuff's good. Yeah. But I might leave it just sitting in there and soaking with the throttle blade shut. Clean up around the edge. And then, what are we on there? Tiny little Torx, get the idle control valve out. Well, I haven't had much luck getting that out. That's got 5 stars Torx type things on it. I haven't got any bits that'll fit that. And then I thought, well, it looks like if you undo these 4 screws, you can pull the whole unit off. But they don't want to come off either. So I think we're just going to have to go for filling it with cleaner and, yeah, hoping for the best. Right, idle control valve is back in. That clip doesn't look too convincing there, does it? There we go. It's not got very much to do other than hold that pipe on. And the measurements afterwards anyway, so I'm not going to panic too much. But let's see how she does. First start. I don't know if there's any relearn procedure. That seems a little high, but she is showing cold at the moment, so we'll let her, I call her Desmond, gender fluid car. And we'll just let that warm up a bit and see where we are. The gasket here is not too clever, in all honesty. If I had a replacement, I would have replaced that, but yeah, hopefully. Is that the sound of a leak? Do you think? I think that is. I'm going to go hunting, I think. You do need a specialist socket, oh there we go, to get the idle control valve off, which I do not have. So if I'm going to do this job and have to replace it, I need to do that. And the 4 screws I was struggling with are Loctited in place, so maybe a bit of heat to just free off the Loctite enough. But that sounds a little leaky to me. There's no idling, like an absolute trooper. Yeah, maybe a touch high. 900's probably where you want to be. Let's see what happens if I start loading up the electricals again. So that's headlights on. We're holding where we are. Heated rear window. Yeah, the heater is just pulling the idle down a bit. Yeah, it's trying, isn't it? I think we'll monitor this and see how it goes. Something else I need to address, we've got bubbling coming up through the bonnet, and we've alpha land this car good and proper, but what I don't think we've done is actually get some up here right deep down into the bonnet skin, so I think I'm just going to quickly do that before we go. Alright, how are we doing now? She's warmed up a bit. There we go, sorry about the sun, we're not used to having it. That's where we want to be, just below 1,000 revs. Spot on. Add load. Oh yeah, I can hear it responding to that. Yeah, still doesn't work at 100%, I don't think. Well, I'm feeling rotten, so I think that's going to bring day one to an end. But yeah, I'm going to go home. A little celebratory cup of tea and a bit of a rest. It's now Wednesday, we are back at Whiteland Restorations to look at the rims, and here they are.
Aren't they lovely?
They look amazing.
They came out really nice, didn't they?
Oh,
yeah, so we did the prep and learnt what hard work prep is, and then Lewis has done the paint. And what have we got paint wise?
So you got base coat.
Okay.
That's the colour.
Yep.
And then the shiny part is the clear coat on the top.
So we just got that on the face.
Yeah, and then on the back is just the base coat on the back. It just makes it easier to do.
Yeah.
So we could do it all in one hit without having to hang them up. Because if anybody out there paints wheels, they're really hard to paint. Any wheel is difficult to paint. These ones, I mean, you've got to try and get paint in that direction, that direction, that direction, and that direction without getting too much paint on. Because as soon as you get too much paint on, it'll run.
Yeah. Oh, they look amazing. Beautiful. So we've got many layers of paint. We've got the original paint that was already on the wheels. And then we've got more paint on top, so hopefully they will last. But we're also going to put some sort of wax.
Oh, you are going to wax? I was going to suggest waxing them, especially now, although Tim will hate you for wheel weights.
Well, yes.
But there we go.
But I don't know if we're even going to bother with wheel weights. We'll work that out when we get to Tim's, and we'll talk about why that doesn't usually happen with 2CV wheels. But thank you very much. They look amazing.
Anytime. Yeah, enjoyed it.
So now we're at Cambrian Classics for the fitting bit. We've already got the first tyre on the beautiful rim, looking good. And we're going to do something that has happened very rarely in my life. Ellie's going to have her wheels balanced. Don't usually bother because you have to go to quite a lot of trouble to actually set up the machine for this, and most garage places aren't interested. And to be honest, it's not like you tend to notice much wobble anyway, but
yeah,
Tim has the kit.
Yeah, because there's no centre hole in the middle of the wheel. You know, with most wheels, you've got a centre cap.
Yeah.
So the nose, most time machines have got a thread that you wind the wheel on to secure it. But with these, with no centre hole, you have to have a centreless adapter. So you can put different number of legs on it in different holes, and that holds the wheel central then by using these as wheel bolts, and you bolt the wheel to this on the machine. So you've got to buy this separately than the normal machine for doing this. But there's classic covers like this.
I seem to recall you bought this for a Citroen DS originally.
I did do a DS, yeah.
Yeah, which has a very similar style wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's quite a lot of modern cars that also have similar wheels. Quite often Citroens again, where they have a tiny little centre cap and you cannot slide the wheel on. So yeah, such devices are made for this. But a lot of garages do not like fitting them because it eats valuable time up. Having to reset your machine.
And they're not cheap for the adapter.
Yeah.
It's not things most tyre places are going to come up against. You know, and as you say, a lot of people don't bother balancing them. But
well, this will be the second car, so
yeah.
Payback must be any time though.
One, you know, might eventually pay itself back. Yeah.
In balancing time. Our survey says
some. Could be worse.
Yeah, not too bad. No way am I trying this today. Also, in previous videos, we've already discovered that the machines do a lot of the work, but not all the work. Pong! A couple of jobs to do before the wheels actually go on the car. You've cleaned the wheels. Yet again, a lot of cleaning involved.
Yep,
What are you doing now?
so I have cleaned and dried the wheels.
Yep.
And now we're using this ceramic coating. And you need an absolutely tiny amount. You go horizontally,
Yep.
then vertically, and then you rub it off. My only issue is, obviously the sponge isn't going to fit in all the creases, so I am going to just use the cloth in certain areas.
I think you're going to have
And
to
then
get
go
in there.
from there, yeah.
I'm doing the fronts and the backs, Lewis said.
Fronts and backs. Okay,
yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. I need to clean the back then.
Okay.
That's fine. So,
And I'm doing something else in the meantime.
what are you doing?
I'm going to paint the nuts. So they sort of at least slightly
It's
match a
literally
bit.
a drop.
They're rusty,
and
isn't
then you
it?
just go so horizontal.
Yep.
Feels, I don't know, strange.
And then you go across it.
And then you go across it.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
And this is the stuff. It's been lent to us by Whiteland. 9H diamond coat. I've never used diamond coating on anything, so we'll see how it does with these wheels. Yeah, the wheel nuts are rusty. Don't like the look of that. And well, you bear in mind, once it's on a wheel, it's going to look awful. So let's do something about that. Now, technically, a dolly should have little centre caps. That's what the tiny square hole is for in the top of the rim there. It's for a captive nut that holds the little hubcap in. But the hubcaps tend to take paint off the wheel themselves. And if that captive nut becomes uncaptive, you then can't get the wheel trim off, which means you can't get the wheel off. So they kind of add more trouble than they're worth. They're a pain in the arse every time you have to take the wheel on and off. So I've never bothered. You can get a little plug, and I really should get the little plugs that fill the hole really. But one day, maybe. Something else about these nuts. The lesser models, the base special, just had little plastic caps that went over these nuts just to hide them as best they could. But they're a pain as well because they quite often get stuck on the nut, and that's not what you want when you're stuck at the side of the road. Now I've remembered to turn the microphone on, I can tell you that we now have Rustival tickets on sale. Rustival is the event we're organising at the British Motor Museum on the 30th of August this year. Co-organising it, it's us and Steph iDriver Classic and Matt Furious Driving, working very hard to make another excellent Rustival come your way. So it's going to be absolutely splendid. I'll put a link below. You only have to buy your tickets from the museum, the exhibitor tickets. You need them for the driver and the passenger if you have passengers. There's no second process like last year where you had to register your car with us as well. Too complicated. Just buy your ticket and then come to the show.
Yeah, your feedback's important to us, and feedback said it was a little overcomplicated. Having run through the process myself, it was overcomplicated, so we've simplified, and we're not counting it as 2 areas this time. It's going to be an entire site. Things are going to move around, and there's lots of exciting stuff happening.
It's going to be great. So that is Rustival free on the 30th of August. Hopefully see you there. HubNut socials, hope maybe before then. We'll see. We're very busy. Speaking of which, I need to get more nuts. Typical HubNut fashion, I got the wheel nuts off to start painting them. Sort of not really appreciating that leaves Ellie immobile with no wheel nuts. And she's only got 3 each wheel, so it's not like you can nick them from elsewhere on the car just to get a wheel on.
In front of our transport home.
Yeah, this is our transport home. So I've had to abort my job mid-primer. They're sort of red-ish.
Honestly, you prepared them lovingly.
Yeah. And now it's time to let it down.
Okay.
You have to jack up quite a long way. There we go. Back on the ground, so Ellie can come in and Desmond can come out. Desmond is out, Ellie is in. I'm as stylish as ever. But you know, this is quite reassuring in a way. It's if you're used to HubNut not being professional, very much back to normal. But we've got some primer on my nuts, and we're just going to leave them there and let that first coat of primer dry before we even try taking the nuts back off again, and then we'll try and get them a sensible colour again. I know it looks like I've got flip-ups on sunglasses, but these are reactors, and once you start driving a car, they're no longer dark.
Lewis, we can only apologise. He's going for Arctic white on the nuts.
Yeah,
Which
but
we know is not the colour.
that'll happen another day. We're packing up shop, and another day done. Maybe I should have, painted them black. I don't know. That's the colour we're going with. That can did not spray very well. Well, it's now Friday. We have not had much tinkering time, as you've seen. We've had a really busy week getting the Rustival tickets online and everything sorted out for that. Yesterday we were doing the BX, so you should have seen a clip of that. It means there's another week. We just haven't really touched the Pajero Junior at all. Hopefully next week we can get a bit more done. But Ellie's wheels are progressing nicely. We have another 2 wheels now. So that brings us up to 4 in total. So these are the 2 that have been painted, had the tyres fitted and with ceramic coated. These 2 will be next for the ceramic coating treatment, and then we can actually get them on the car. There's my painted nuts in the background. I did a terrible job on those. Maybe we won't bother with the ones on the back, but yeah, we can get Ellie back on her wheels again. But today we've already done a driving lesson, which involves going up to Aberystwyth, doing a driving session around Aberystwyth and coming back. So that's a good few hours of Friday gone, and now we're going away for the weekend, up to Havant and more. But before we go, tyres. If you want discount tyres, head to vintagetyres.co.uk and use discount code HUB10 HUBTEN for 10% off everything apart from their Dunlop racing tyres. It's a great offer. And Vintage Tyres, don't let that mislead you. It's not just vintage stuff they do. They do tyres that will fit the Pajero, and I'm sure other cars on our fleet as well. It was Vintage Tyres who supplied the tyres, also Michelin 125s, for Tuck the Invercar here, little 12-inch ones. So they've actually got a wide range of manufacturers available. Go and check them out, vintagetyres.co.uk, discount code HUBTEN. But huge thanks to them for supplying the rubber that will be going under Ellie when she stops dangling in the air. And just before we go, the reason the wings are faded pink is not that they're faded to pink, it's that they were painted faded pink in the first place to match the then roof. Now replace the roof. At some point we've got to replace the wings, but there's so much to do on Ellie. Her bodywork is a constant project. So huge thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week and see what we get up to. Bye! Actually mild enough that I could take that off today.